speech, I read an article by Science Direct that discusses the many ways that young children benefit from nonverbal gestures. In this article, they state how learning language only through spoken word is not realistic for young kids, as they need other gestures in order to fully understand and retain the information. Gestures can include pointing, eye gaze, visually seeing an object or an action they are learning about. For example, if you're trying to teach an unfamiliar word to a child, like running, it's better understood if you actually act out the verb for them to associate the word and the gesture. There is theoretical and empirical support from cognitive science that exemplifies the importance of nonverbal cues in the early learning of language or words. But most studies of word learning in early childhood have been focused purely on the verbal, with little studies actually focusing on the nonverbal and verbal combined communication amongst early learners. The article also states that the use of nonverbal communication is especially valuable amongst preschool-aged children, or children who don't have the same linguistic skills as their peers. The article also discussed how the brain processes information using its two subsystems, one being word processing, or what we hear, and another being image processing and what we see. To fully comprehend information and retain it, it's better for children to utilize both subsystems. Not only will they learn faster, but they'll learn more meaningfully. The article also focuses on the gestures that teachers may be making while reading. They give a fitting example of a teacher reading a book about a tornado. Instead of just reading the words, she uses her finger to create a twirling tornado motion. This will help capture the children's attention and allow them a better understanding of what the book is talking about in real time. Lastly, the understanding of the 4 types of gestures is important to know. 1, deictic gestures, which direct attention to items or people in your immediate area, usually pointed to. Number 2, iconic gestures like thumbs up or your index and thumb put together to make a circle means okay or so on. 3, representational gestures, meaning to represent the word using hand signals, like how the teacher represented the tornado by twirling her fingers. And 4, beat gestures, which recognize rhythm or cadence of speech, like conducting an orchestra or moving your hands to the beat. There are many ways to incorporate nonverbal gestures into the early learning space. As a teacher myself, I've seen firsthand how a child's understanding can be enhanced by using these types of gestures and hand signals or cues. I recommend using them as often as possible. I've also found that it especially helps children learning English as their second language. Some people are more prone to naturally utilize these types of gestures in their everyday speech, but to the people who don't, I recommend starting small with books like the article mentions. Practice acting out certain words with your hands, and over time it will become more natural. And you'll find yourself using these gestures more and more often. After all, we should always be willing to do what we need to do to create a learning environment that benefits the children.